Hi, everybody, and welcome to Global Education's mini expo series with our partners at Into. We're so excited to have you here today, and I'm joined by my colleague Susie, who will be telling us a bit more about Into Manchester. How exciting! Thank you for joining us, Susie. Global Education is an education agency. We assist students with start to finish of the application process. So if you decide that after this webinar, Into Manchester is the perfect fit for you, we would be happy to help you with your applications. We'll be communicating directly with Into Manchester about your applications, making sure your documents are exactly where they need to be, assisting you with your accommodation, your health cover, and your visa. So we'll be happy to help you with the entire process, but we'll hand over to Susie, who will tell us a little bit more about Into Manchester.
Great, thank you so much, Mariana. It's really good to be here, and thank you to George and everyone else at Global Education for having me. My name is Susie and I work for Into Manchester. We are one of the official foundation partners for the University of Manchester. So we have an exclusive partnership. Sometimes it's called the Purple Pathway because, as you can see, the University of Manchester logo is purple, and every year we send hundreds of students across from our centre in the heart of Manchester City into the University of Manchester, whose campus is just a 10-minute walk from our teaching centre. So today I'm going to tell you all about this partnership. I'm very passionate about the partnership because I previously worked and studied at the University of Manchester myself. So I speak from experience. It's a really fantastic university and a great option if you are planning to come to do your bachelor's or master's degree here in the UK, and particularly if you want to go to a big urban city, an environment like a city which is really fun, but where you can also study at a great university. So I'm going to kick off with a quick geography lesson to show you a little bit about the city, because that is a really important part of the study experience when you come and study not just Into Manchester, but also at the University of Manchester itself. So here is a diagram of Manchester City Centre. Now, many of you will have heard of Manchester, probably because of the football teams, Manchester United, we won't talk about them today, and Manchester City, who are located on opposite sides of the city. And you'll notice here, just to the southern side of the city centre is the University District. It's sometimes called the Knowledge Quarter or the University Quarter of the city, and that's where you'll find three universities actually. There's University of Manchester, which is what I'll be talking about today. Also Manchester Metropolitan University, and they offer different types of courses from the University of Manchester. There's also a music school or music university in this area, so it's very student friendly. And in fact, in Manchester, there are around 100,000 students walking around and living in the city. So when you're walking through the city centre, roughly 1 in 5 people that you will encounter is a student. So it's a really lively, vibrant, youthful kind of city. It has a real buzz. And I say buzz because you may notice this bumblebee symbol here, which is the symbol of Manchester. And if you've ever been to Manchester, or if you ever come here, you will notice that this symbol is located on trash cans and bins and lamp posts and buildings all around the city. It's the symbol of Manchester, and it represents hard work and community spirit, which is what Manchester is all about. So really proud to have that associated with the city. And you'll notice, and again, if we go back to the map, that the University District is very close to the Into Manchester Centre. And that's where we do all of our teaching. This is where you will do your foundation programme. So although you'll be on the University of Manchester Foundation Pathway, all of your foundation teaching will actually take place at the Into Centre, but you will have opportunities to go to the campus of the university, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But you can see that we are located in the heart of the city centre, super convenient, great opportunities for you to explore the city, the various different districts. And outside of London, it is one of the most visited cities in the UK, and has also been ranked the #1 most livable city in the UK for the last several years in a row. So some of you might be thinking about going to London, but a lot of people actually consider Manchester as a better choice because firstly, it's still very lively. There's still lots going on. It has the second biggest cultural sector in the UK, second biggest economy. So it's really a big city. but it's about 30% cheaper to live in Manchester. It also has a much more relaxed pace of life, and you can walk everywhere in the city centre and get to know people. You really feel like a local, even as an international student coming here. You'll make it your home within just a year or two. So that's certainly one of the things that when we speak to students who have been studying with us at INTU, they always say that the community and the welcoming the way that the community is here are very kind of open-minded and happy to welcome students from all over the world. So just to put this all into context, you can see the city centre here that I just showed you. The INTU Manchester Centre is roughly here where the letter E is, and the University of Manchester itself is just a 10-minute walk away. So you just walk straight down this road. It's you can't get lost. You just don't turn left, don't turn right. You just go straight, and you will be in the heart of the university. You'll notice it's very big. It is, in fact, the largest single-site campus in the UK. It also has the largest population of students in the UK. So it is a big environment, big campus environment. So if you're looking for a very small, very small rural-based campus, this might not be a good option for you. But if you are looking for that big city experience, somewhere that's diverse, that's very exciting, that presents lots of opportunities, then this is could be a very good fit for you. And so you can see there's all sorts of different buildings. What I personally like about it is because it was established in 1824, you will find lots of beautiful historical buildings like you can see behind me here. Yeah, there we go. And on the other side of my face, you can see much more modern buildings, and they sit literally side by side. So it's a really interesting mixture of architecture, and you see the heritage as well as the progress that the university is investing in its new facilities. And so a couple of examples of those new facilities are here. This is the Alliance Manchester Business School. This is actually the second oldest business school in the UK. Very, very popular with students from all over the world, UK students as well as international students and those from your region as well. But this particular business school is triple accredited, which means that there are 3 large professional organisations in the world which has given it a gold star, gold stamp of approval. And only 1% of business schools in the world are triple accredited, and this is one of them. So it's very well established, it's been teaching for a long time, but it's also the quality of those courses is recognised as being very, very high. And the facilities that go along with it are also really stellar. And you can see here, this is one of the main sort of library areas of the business school itself. Just opposite, you can see this is the music school that I was talking about. You can just about see here through this window, this is an Olympic-sized swimming pool, which was built for the Commonwealth Games. Which was hosted in Manchester a few years ago. So it's really in the heart of all the action, which is really exciting. You can see just outside this window as well, this is that main road that I was showing you before. And this is actually one of the busiest bus routes in Europe. So you can walk everywhere, to be honest, in Manchester, but actually taking the bus or the tram is super convenient and cheap as well. So it's really very convenient for all students. This is another development on the campus, which is the newest development that literally only opened a few weeks ago. It's called the Manchester Engineering Campus Development. And basically this is going to be a hub for all engineering subjects within the university. And the university was actually founded as a mechanics institute. So it's got a really strong reputation for subjects in engineering, particularly mechanical engineering, mechatronic engineering and chemical engineering. Apparently the first chemical engineering textbook in the world was written by a University of Manchester lecturer 200 years ago. So it has a really strong heritage that's linked to engineering and the Industrial Revolution, which started in Manchester as well. So this particular complex will be home to all of the different types, and things like electrical engineering, electronic engineering also offered. There's lots of different things you can look at, aerospace and civil as well. And the idea is they're trying to emulate a working environment, because they recognize that when you graduate from, say, a civil engineering degree, you will very likely need to work closely with a mechanical engineer and possibly an aerospace engineer or some other kinds of engineers. So the idea is to try and bring all of these minds together, to share best practice, to work together, and to get students used to having to think from different perspectives to try and achieve a goal in engineering and find solutions to engineering problems. So really collaborative space. The lecture theatres and all of the classrooms have been designed and developed with this in mind. So really beautiful building. I've not had a chance to go in there since it's been opened, but when I did go for a tour while it was being built, it's really, really impressive. Very big building, very modern, and also, again, right at the heart of the campus. So it's not in a separate part of the city, it's in the middle of the campus, which is very close to the city centre. So that is something which you will be able to avail of if you come and study engineering at the university. So I'm just about to show you some other reasons why the university is the most popular university in the UK, particularly with UK students. But first, I just want to show you another couple of pictures of the campus. So you can see here, this is basically what I have in the background. This is kind of like the central heart of the campus. Summertime, when the sun's out, you'll see lots of students sunbathing here, having their lunch. It's a really beautiful space. This is the building where you would graduate, and that's where you have all your photographs, you know, throwing your motorboard in the air and everything like that. This is also, excuse me, usually, if you're on the Purple Pathway, you will be invited to an exclusive welcome party, which usually takes place on the campus, and that would usually take place in this beautiful building. So that's something that our Into Purple Pathway students would often be able to attend. Here is the humanities building. Languages are taught there, philosophy, history, those kinds of subjects. And this modern building in the middle is an extension of the library, but there are no books inside. It's just for studying. There's study space, collaborative spaces, and lots of different types of study space as well. And that's open 24 hours a day during term time. So it has a real nice mixture of different buildings, like I said, but also facilities that are available after hours, which is really, really useful. So here are some great reasons why people, including myself, chose the University of Manchester as their first choice university. And there's lots of different reasons, but I usually try to distill it into three things. The first thing is the reputation. You'll notice that it's a founding member of the Russell Group, which, if you're not sure what the Russell Group is, it's basically a group of the most prestigious universities in the UK. They usually are very good at research. They usually have lots of funding from the government, and they usually enjoy very high academic league table rankings as well. So Manchester University was one of the founding members, and I believe the Vice Chancellor was also the chair of the group last year as well. So it has a really strong reputation around the world for its academic credentials. It's also ranked number 27 currently in the world in the QS World Rankings. So if ranking is important to you, then it does enjoy very high rankings. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing, which is something that is sometimes overlooked, is reputation within the world of work and employability. Lots of people look at academic rankings, but quite often they forget to look at how does this university look to employers and to companies. And this university is actually ranked one of the best in the UK. If you Google later on, you're welcome to Google this graduate market high flyers research. This is independent research which is undertaken to find out which universities in the UK are the most targeted. And by targeted, I mean companies coming to the campus to speak to students, to do workshops, to do consultations, to meet students and try and recruit them to their companies. So over the last 10 years, the University of Manchester has been in the top 3 almost every year, and that's above Oxford and Cambridge quite often. So they do actually have a very strong reputation, not just for academic quality, but also for the quality of graduates when they leave, their ability to enter the world of work and hit the ground running and really add value to companies. And these are some of the companies that have come to the campus and do often have links with the campus and the career service. You'll notice a very famous one at the moment, AstraZeneca. Their headquarters is actually just about 20 miles or so outside of Manchester city centre. BBC, they also have some of their big studio complexes in Manchester as well. So a lot of these companies actually have their national headquarters or national offices in Manchester as well. So it's a big city, and we do make the most of that by having these industrial links and links to employability. So certainly academic reputation is one thing, but reputation with employers is something you should also consider as well. And the third thing I think, which is really unique about the university, is the size. Like I said, it's the biggest in terms of student population and in terms of the size of the campus. 40,000 students from over 170 different countries every year. Roughly 12,000 of those students are not British, so they from all over the world, from different countries. And so when you're actually studying there, and I speak from experience again, when you enter a classroom or a lecture theatre, you will be sharing that space with people from all over the world with different perspectives. You're making friends with people from all over the world, different backgrounds, learning about different cultures. And so you do get a very interesting experience, and that carries across into your social life as well as your academic life and student life as well. And when it comes to size, sometimes people think, oh no, that means that I'm not going to have the attention that I need. But remember, although it's a big university with lots of students, they also have lots of staff and lots of facilities. So the ratio of staff to students isn't any worse than other universities, because it has that size. It is very well prepared to support students from a range of different countries. They have a huge international office, they have a visa support team, and the size again rivals those of other similar institutions. And so we're able to support students no matter where they're from and what their background is. The other thing related to size is that they do have the largest single site university library in the UK and the largest students' union. So I think personally size like this brings opportunity. So if you're looking to go somewhere where you can learn lots of different things from a range of different people, explore different perspectives and make friends from different cultures, then this is the place for you. And so I think that is certainly something which you can't really find at smaller universities. You have a really wide range of choice. So that's something also to consider. So if this sounds good and you're interested, then of course I would highly recommend the partnership that we have at Into Manchester with the University of Manchester. So we're really thankful and proud as well to have such a strong relationship with the university. We've been their official foundation partner for multiple years, and we offer a range of different foundation pathway courses, which leads to a really wide range of degree programs as well. So the university actually has almost 400 different degree programs. We allow progression into almost all of them, apart from medicine and dentistry and some other select kind of more clinical related courses. But for most other courses, we do have an option for progressing students there. So for example, the university actually has 3 faculties. The first one is Faculty of Science and Engineering. Very popular courses within that faculty include things like computer science, mathematics, physics, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, and so on. There's also a Faculty of Humanities, which includes things like social sciences, economics, politics, law, that kind of thing, languages as well. And then the third faculty is the Faculty of Biology, Medicine and Health, and that includes things like biosciences, biochemistry, genetics, zoology, and so on. And there are lots and lots of courses within each of those 3 faculties. Now, if you wanted to progress to those degrees, you would need to complete your foundation year with us at Into, and you would need to select one of these 5 pathways. So for example, if you wanted to study biochemistry, we would most likely recommend the bioscience pathway, because in that pathway, you would study academic subjects which are relevant to the progression that you want to go to. So in this example, it would probably be something like biology, chemistry, and maths. Okay. If you wanted to study an engineering degree program, we would usually recommend this one. That's where you would usually study a combination of maths, physics, and maybe chemistry, for example. So that would lead you on or put you in a good position to get onto a degree program related to engineering or physical science. If you wanted to progress to a marketing or management course in the business school, for example, we would then recommend this pathway. And there you would probably be allocated something like maths, economics, and possibly business studies or global studies if you wanted to do politics. So at Into Manchester, we have a range of different academic subject modules. And when you apply to us, you tell us which degree you want to study at the University of Manchester, and we will allocate those subject modules to you. There will be 3, and those modules are allocated based on what we think will give you the best chance of getting to your desired progression degree. So you need to study something relevant, obviously, so we will make sure that you have the right combination of subjects to get you to where you want to be. Okay. So that's how it works. We have multiple different intakes. Our main intake is usually September. That's usually when we have the highest number of students join us, but we do also have a January intake as well. The entry requirements differ depending on which country you're from. So some of you may be from South Africa, and you may be doing the local high school examination, so we would accept that, but the grades may differ depending on which pathway you would want to do. If you're from Zambia and you're doing your local qualification there, the grading system would be slightly different. So you would have slightly different entry requirements to the foundation, depending on the country that you're from. And if you'd like more information about that, then Global Education will be able to provide you with the detail. You will likely need to have IELTS as well, particularly if you are planning to come to study in the UK. Just for your information, we are delivering on-campus studies at the moment. We do have students studying with us face-to-face, but we do also have some who are starting their course online, who later plan to come on campus. So obviously, as the pandemic progresses, that could change, but at the moment we have quite a lot of flexibility, and we have kind of hybrid teaching, and there are different options for students depending on their personal circumstances. So yeah, this is how it works. And if you'd like more information about the detail, please do check out our website or speak to Global Education. But basically, you would spend your time studying your foundation with us first. And then as long as you successfully complete the course and you get the required grades to progress, you will then move on to the University of Manchester, and we call that progression. Okay. Now, the special thing about being on the University of Manchester pathway is that you will be guaranteed a conditional offer or an interview from the University of Manchester. So a conditional offer is where the university looks at you and they look at your application and they think, this person's got great potential, we'll make them an offer as long as they get these grades at the end of the foundation course. Okay, so progression is only guaranteed once you have actually met the entry requirements for the degree program that you've chosen, but you will be guaranteed either a conditional offer or an interview for your chosen course. And that's something that's very difficult to get, by the way, so that's why it's a kind of perk of being on this particular pathway. And so for an example, this is Savannah, who was actually a student with us a few years ago from South Africa, and she studied the foundation year in science and engineering, and ended up going to the University of Manchester to study biochemistry. So she received an offer from into Manchester first, then she studied the 3 academic subjects that I mentioned before on science and engineering, probably biology, chemistry and maths. And then once she got the grades that she needed, she was then able to progress to biochemistry at the university. So great example there of a successful student, and we do have lots and lots of successful students every year who progress to the university, but I must stress that you still need to work hard. It's not enough just to get that conditional offer. You do need to get the grades to get to the university as well. So you do need to make sure you apply yourself when you're studying with us. Now, that's the main perk of being on the University of Manchester pathway, that guaranteed conditional offer or interview. But you do get some extra perks as well. And one of those things is the welcome event that I talked about before. That's where normally pre-pandemic, we would have an event at that beautiful building at the university just for Into Purple Pathway students. And you'd get to meet former students and academics and lecturers from the department. And I think there's free pizza as well. This year we had that online, because the university was still being quite cautious with hosting these big events. So this is a screenshot that I took last week of the online version of the welcome event. And you can see here, these colleagues here are either members of the international office at the university or lecturers. So Dr. Pezzino here is actually an economics lecturer within the social science department. And they organized this online session to help our students learn more about the pathway and progression and the entry requirements, and ask any questions that they might have had as well. So we anticipate doing this again for our January start students, and we usually have at least 2 events per year just for the University of Manchester Purple Pathway students. Another perk is access to the main library. And like I said before, it's the largest single site university library in the UK. So students who are located here and doing face-to-face study will get a special associate membership card so they can use that library. And that's one of 5 national research libraries. So it's a really special library. There's lots of great resources, and our students here at INTU do have access to that. And it's the international office here who are currently organising that for our current students. There's also opportunities to have guest lectures. So this Thursday, for example, we have Dr. Pueyo from the biology faculty who's going to be doing a talk about careers in biology or biology related careers, and that's happening later this week. So throughout the year, there will be opportunities to engage with the university and learn more about them. So, like I said before, you do need to work hard while you're at INTU in order to progress to the university. And the grades in the conditional offer will be based on the 3 subject modules that you'll be allocated by our academic team. And here I've just put a very general overview of what those requirements are likely to be. There is quite a lot of variation depending on the degree program, which is why I've put the full range here. So the lowest is usually AAB, and the highest requirements required will be A star, A star, A star. So for example, at the moment, computer science at the university is very, very, very competitive, and that's why they're asking for 3 A stars from the 3 academic subject modules. And like I said, it's our academic team who will allocate those to you based on your degree choice and your background as well. Okay, so this is kind of the range that you need to aim for, but some degrees are AAB to AAA. But if you're particularly looking for those more competitive degrees like computer science or physics, for example, you might need to punch a bit higher and try and go for A star, A star, A star. So if you don't meet these grades, unfortunately, it's not always possible to progress to the university, but we do have a team of placements officers who will help you with backup choices, and I'll talk about that in a second. I just want to quickly mention here, there is also another requirement which is called EAP. That stands for English for Academic Purposes. Now, if you already are fluent in English and have an IELTS test of 7 or 7.5, then you don't need to do EAP. We will put you onto a different module, which is called RCS, which is Research and Communication Skills. So it's like an advanced English class where you learn about study skills, which are really useful for when you progress to university. But a lot of students do have to do EAP. You need to aim for B to A star. Again, depends on the degree that you are hoping to progress to. Just for your information, a B here is equivalent to 6.5 in IELTS. So that would be the minimum requirement that you would need to pass the English requirement. Okay, I hope that makes sense. This is the requirements for progressing to the University of Manchester. But don't worry, because our placements team will help you with this. They will let you know exactly what the requirements are for your chosen degree program. And throughout the year, they will give you support in making your application. Now, this is one thing actually that sometimes students get confused about, is that even though you're on the University of Manchester pathway, you still need to make an application. That's just part of the process. It's the mechanism that we have with the university. So if you don't submit an application, you have no chance of getting a place. So you need to submit a UCAS application. But again, don't worry, our placements team will help guide you through that entire process. If you start in September, this is the timeline. If you start in January, it's a slightly different timeline. And because you're on the University of Manchester pathway, sometimes we're able to negotiate more favourable deadline dates with the university. Or for example, if a course closes due to capacity issues early in the year, if you are an INTU Manchester student, they often reopen it for you. And that's the nature of our partnership, is that we can negotiate these kinds of things for our students if they're on the pathway, purple pathway. And here is just a screenshot of the virtual learning environment, which is what all of our students have access to this year, whether they're online or studying face-to-face. And this is just a screenshot of the placements team section, where you can see all of the different resources and presentations and webinars that they host throughout the year. So you have lots of different support options available, and you just have to make sure that you do use those resources and speak to our placements team. So this is one half of our placements team, Stephen, who is extremely experienced. He's been with us for many years. He's helped send hundreds of students to the University of Manchester, and it's his job basically to support students throughout that process, to help them decide on their choices. And when you submit an application, most students on the University of Manchester pathway will put the University of Manchester as their first choice, but sometimes students change their minds. And we also do encourage students to put backup choices. We call them insurance choices as well. So you can actually apply to up to 5 different universities while you're with us, even if you're on the University of Manchester pathway. And that's because we actually do have more than just the University of Manchester as a progression option. In fact, these 16 universities here have a special partnership with us. It's called the NCUK Partnership, which means that any student at NCUK Manchester will be guaranteed an offer at least from one of these universities. So the University of Manchester there is obviously one of them, but we do also have this special relationship and partnership with 15 other universities, including 5 other Russell Group universities like Sheffield and Birmingham and Bristol, for example. So you could change your mind if you want to, or you could put a different university as your backup. And quite often that's quite useful to do, because if you don't get the grades for your desired course at the university, then it's always good to have a backup choice that you're happy with. And that's why we do invite representatives from each of these universities to come and speak to students. So you have the opportunity to ask them questions, learn more about their campuses, and really find the best fit university for you. So this is an example of the NCUK Universities Fair, which we host every year. This year it's online again, but we hope to have a face-to-face version next year. So lots of opportunities to explore different universities around the UK, not just University of Manchester, but obviously being on the Purple Pathway, most of you will probably be mostly interested in progressing to the University of Manchester. It's always good to have those backups in place too. And here you can see where they are dotted around the country, 6 Russell groups, like I said, and really it's about helping you find your best fit. And if you don't end up at the University of Manchester, that's fine, because your second choice will still be one that you're happy with. So this gives you the opportunity to really do your research and find out where you would be happy at the end of the year. And this is an example of a student who was in that position, not from East Africa, but from Cameroon. Actually, Canis studied with us last year. He wasn't on the Purple Pathway. He was on something called the NCUK Pathway, which is slightly different. It only guarantees an offer to one of those 16 universities. It doesn't guarantee an offer or interview from the University of Manchester. And he was actually very interested in applying to a range of different universities, but wanted to study at the University of Manchester. And that's where he ended up, even though he wasn't on the Purple Pathway. So if you're listening today and you're not qualified to apply for the Purple Pathway, which does have slightly higher entry requirements, you may want to consider the NCUK Manchester NCUK Pathway, which, like I said, only guarantees an offer from at least one of those universities. You can't specify getting an offer or interview from the University of Manchester, but it is still possible to go there. And so Canis is a shining example of how that has been possible for him last year. Okay, and similarly, we had a student last year who wanted to study again engineering at the University of Manchester, but actually changed her mind about that and decided to go to Birmingham instead. So again, you're not locked in to going to the University of Manchester. You still need to meet the grade requirements, of course, but you do have the option to do a bit of research before you commit to a particular one. And that's one of the beauties of studying at somewhere like NCUK Manchester, which has not just the University of Manchester as a key partner, but also 15 other universities. Okay, so I'm going to skip this video because actually I think it's a little bit long, but I do recommend that you check it out on YouTube. It's called Study at NCUK Manchester, Best UK City to Live in. It gives you some really nice images of the city, so you can get a sense of what it's actually like on the ground, as well as some images of some of our other partner universities. So it's well worth watching that particular video. Otherwise, I'm going to end here and I'd be happy to take questions. But before I do, I'd just like to highlight our Instagram page. We post on there pretty frequently, so you can get a sense of what the city's like and the campus and the centre. And if you have any other questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. But of course, global education are on your doorstep too. So please do get in touch. Okay, that's everything. Thanks very much. Do we have any questions, Mariana?
Thank you, Susie. I definitely have some questions. I just want to share my screen quickly. There we go. Okay, great. I actually had a question in terms of, sometimes I think students question, obviously, the difference between going into a pathway and with a pathway or going into direct entry in terms of the student life and the accessibility and the facilities. And so I know that they have access to the library and they do get the exclusive events for the purple pathway. But what is it like outside of the university when it comes to student life? The difference between students who are going via the pathway and students who are going direct?
That's a really good question, actually. The main thing, firstly, is that the foundation pathway doesn't just provide you with the academic preparation for going to university, but also gives you a chance to settle into life in the UK and to life in the UK, and particularly the style of teaching, but also for many of our students, I'd say 95% of our students, is the first time they've left their home countries to live abroad. Some of them are under 18. We have most of our students are 17, 18, 19 years old. It's the first time they've ever left home. They're living in a country where English is the second language. So studying at a pathway provider provides them with a little bit of extra support that they wouldn't necessarily get at the university, because if you go straight into the university at 18, 19 years old, you're expected to hit the ground running, you're expected to understand all of the cultural jokes and you know, understand how to do public transport and everything city on top of your really important bachelor's degree studies. And so you don't have a chance to adapt to life in the UK. And that's one of the big benefits of doing a foundation course, is that you have that extra 6 months or 1 year to find your feet, to get used to studying with people from different backgrounds, to get used to studying English and the accents here in the UK as well. So that's one of the big benefits, is that you have a bit of extra support. And also because at NCUK Manchester, 100% of our students are international. At the university, it's 20 to 25%. So at NCUK Manchester, we have every single one of our staff members is trained and experienced in working with international students. So we understand the kind of cultural aspects of working with students, the support requirements as well that might be needed if you're homesick or, you know, whatever it is. We have dedicated teams there to help students. But also the class sizes are much smaller. So in a university, you would, you know, in your first year, you'd go into a lecture of 50 to 100 people. You'd have to adapt to that very, very quickly. Whereas in Manchester, our class sizes, I think at the moment, are maximum 16 to 20, depending on the pathway. So you really have that additional level of support. And we still do lots of social activities as well, like you would have access to at the university. Today, actually, 3 p.m. in a couple of hours, our students are going to Manchester Art Gallery on a trip. So they're going to have a chance to explore the city. We have football teams, we have programming team, baking club, and these are students. Yeah, these are accessible to students on campus and studying online. Obviously not the art gallery one, but there are opportunities to have fun and get to know each other, and that those social activities really help students settle in. And I think that's the main thing, really, is having time to adapt to life in the UK, because it can be a bit of a culture shock, I think.
For sure. And I think the environment that you're in also determines your morale, your energy, and your dedication to your studies. So I think it's very important as well.
Yeah, and like I said before as well, at NCUK Manchester, you have an extra 6 months or 1 year to do more research into your university choices.
That's also a good point.
You cast application, you ask advice, you meet reps from universities, you can hear from previous students. Whereas going straight into university, you're locked in. You just make that decision based on their website and you're there. Whereas at NCUK, you actually experience the UK. Sometimes we do trips to campuses, but certainly that opportunity to speak with representatives face to face is really valuable, that you don't necessarily have the opportunity to do if you were to go straight into a university directly.
Definitely. So NCUK Manchester, as you explained, has got a lot of pathway opportunities, a lot of progression universities that students can choose from. Is it a guaranteed progression from the foundation?
No, it's not guaranteed progression, but you are guaranteed a conditional offer from one of those 16 universities that I showed. So progression is contingent on a student getting the grades required. So they from the 3 subjects they study it into, and submitting a UCAS application successfully.
Yes, okay.
Just do those things, they'll be in a good place.
Great. I think also sometimes students can be a little bit concerned about missing out starting their degree program with their age group. And it's really nice that the pathway starts so early in the year to accommodate for that, so that they can start their degree with kids in their age group. And specifically for South African students, now they're writing their matric finals. They should be getting their final results at the end of January, maybe February, because of COVID delays. But I think it's really great that they can start earlier in the year. Can you just run through the different intakes for me?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, our main intake is September every year, which runs basically from September to June. So there are exams sort of after the first term, and then again in May and June. Then you get your results around July time. You find out if you actually have a place at the university in August, and then you go to that university in September. So it's literally all done within that 1 year. The January intake is usually slightly smaller, but we still have, I think, about 150 or so students actually due to join us for the University of Manchester Pathway this January.
Fantastic.
And that one runs from January to about August. You still have 2 sets of exams, but it's a slightly different timeline. And then you still get to progress to the university in the September. So it's like the September start one, but slightly more condensed, and it runs a bit further into the summer. Then we also have something you might have seen on the screen before, which it said June. That June intake is actually an academic English intake, where if you're not so confident with your English, which I don't think will apply so much to your students, but if there are students who aren't confident with their English, they can do a term of academic English first in June. So June to September, and then September to June. So again, it's a whole year, but they front load it with a term of academic English.
Yes, ready to start their degree once they've finished their foundation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I'm so impressed to see such a contemporary, high-ranked institution that also looks at focusing on work opportunities after studies, and has the accreditations and the rankings at a research level. So it's a really great combination.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for telling us about Into Manchester and about the University of Manchester as well.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for having me. I hope to see you in Manchester soon.
Me too. Me too.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Susie.
Bye.
Bye.